and yet they're still buying in players that don't seem to be world class or don't seem to be at that top level. And the same, they still seem to be have this habit for buying
We've got
like mid
Thiago.
twenties
You
kind
know,
of cheap
he's not
players.
up to it. I think Thiago hasn't quite been what
There was a lot of
hope.
criticism of Thiago after
Yeah,
his performance this weekend.
Yeah.
he's not had that breakout yet. I think he's assisted. He's not scored yet. It's been a while now. It's been quite a few fixtures.
I think the problem with Thiago is he was injured for such a long time. I think he needed that period where he was injured. He needed playing to get to grips with the league, to get to grips with the style of football. He hasn't had that chance, really, I'd say. He's
I
spent a long
noticed
time out injured.
he's not used to the officiating or the way that it is, and decisions don't really go your way. And he's like, sometimes you look at him, like there's so many pictures of him on the pitch and he looks puzzled. He is not acclimated to the Premier League. Thiago Silva had a rocky go at Chelsea, but he's sort of doing quite well now. And I think, they came in at a similar time. And
I think another factor, and I don't mean any disrespect to Liverpool here, but I think another factor is that there is a drop in the player quality around him as well. If we look at the Bayern Munich team that just won the Champions League, that this is clearly the best team in Europe right now, by quite a long way. To then go to a Liverpool team that seems to be on the decline, there is going to be a difference felt with him, I think, and that is going to make it harder for him to connect to the people around him.
Because he also got injured in the Merseyside derby, as well as Virgil, and then shortly after Joe Gomez, and now Jota, and it's like, when people are dropping like flies around you, it's hard to, because he's probably playing with different squads every time he's come on, and he's just not had the consistency, like a run of 5 fixtures where he's had the same team. So I agree with you, that he probably just, and I know they train like training, but I think it's crazy. He's probably a bit behind in terms of like.
A final point to mention, really. I mean, it surprises me how many people haven't really mentioned the fact he's come from the Bundesliga. You look at how many players have come over to the UK from the Bundesliga in the last few seasons who haven't really adapted. I mean, Liverpool have got another prime example in Naby Keita.
Yeah.
I mean, he's had flashes of brilliance, but he's never really become the player that Liverpool fans would have expected.
He's got Gerrard's number, and it's like, wow. He comes on. I remember being in the pub with Jack, and we were watching Liverpool Southampton, and he scored. I was like, yes. And it's so hard when you've got a player whose peak is here, but they're always here. And he's just not. He's not worth the 54 million or whatever we spent.
Is that a conversation that's worth having? That maybe there is a level of football that is seen in the Bundesliga and then in the Premier League that certain players can't adapt to when they make the move over here.
The best cases would be Chelsea, I think, with Kai Havertz, with Timo Werner.
Precisely.
I think Werner took a knock against Brighton. Lewis Dunk, who's like a big defender, and he was like, Jesus. Like, he's like, wow. Like in the Prem, the aerial duels, Thiago Silva instead, and it's just more intense. People will hack you down. And it really is the physicality element. I think they